see that more and more. You know, when you go out in the street and you're seeing somebody and your heart's breaking for them because they're in such a hard situation. You want to be able to speak a word. You want to see God glorified in that life. And so on, and so on, right? Until one day, the Word says, the whole earth, God says, shall be filled with my glory. And so, I want you to turn to the book of Proverbs. Before we look at the fear of the Lord a little more closely, I want to show you some real neat Proverbs here. And there's about a handful of them, maybe 10 or so. We're just going to kind of read them and move on, so be ready to flip. Let's go to chapter 1. What do you think of when I say the fear of the Lord? Well, whatever thoughts come in your mind, one thing as you study the fear of the Lord, you realize the fear of the Lord is, to me, it's a very, very deep reverence for God. You know, we say, well, it's honoring God. Well, I think it even goes beyond that. Just honor. I like to use the word reverence. You know, to me, it's just a little more powerful. But it's a deep reverence for God. And because of that deep reverence, it causes a change in your life. I mean, it produces a change in your life. And we're going to see some of that as we read through some of these Proverbs. All right, verse 7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. So here we see right at the beginning, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. It's where knowledge starts. It's where wisdom starts. Without the fear of the Lord, wisdom and knowledge are not going to be there. Now you might have some intellect, but you will not have the true wisdom from above. It's pure, peaceful, and gentle. All right, verse 29, same chapter. It says, for that they hated knowledge. This is speaking about people that God tried to reach out to. Wisdom tried to reach out to, but they wouldn't listen. Here's the ending of that part of the Scripture. He says, for that they hated knowledge, and they did not choose the fear of the Lord. And if you read through that starts at verse 20, you'll see that wisdom's crying out. It's saying, turn. Turn at my reproof. He says, turn at my reproof. Behold, I'll pour out my spirit unto you. I'll make known my words unto you. Verse 24, but because I've called and you refused, I stretched out my hand and no man regarded. So you see, and he says, they did not choose the fear of the Lord. So you have a choice to walk in the fear of the Lord. That deep reverence for God. They didn't choose it. All right, chapter 3, verse 7. Somebody read that one. Anybody, just read it out loud.
Be not wise in thine own eyes, fear the Lord, and depart from evil.
Okay, we're getting some more instruction. The Proverbs has a lot to teach us. Don't be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord, and depart from evil. And look what it says, it shall be health to your navel and marrow to your bones. That's a benefit, isn't it? How many of you would like a little bit more health? How many of you would like a little more health to your navel? Good King James there. And marrow to your bones. Oh, that's fat bones. That's what we want. Marrow in our bones. All right, chapter 8. Keep turning. Somebody read verse 13.
The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride, and arrogancy, and the evil way, and the froward mouth do I hate.
Thank you. The fear of the Lord. Now, here's something that the fear of the Lord produces. Remember I said it's going to change your life. It's to hate evil. That's a good one to start with, isn't it? Ye that love the Lord, the Psalm says, Psalm 95 or 6, I think. Ye that love the Lord, hate evil. 97. Psalm 97. Ye that fear the, ye that, what did I say? Ye that love the Lord, hate evil. Do you hate evil? If you do, say yes.
Yes.
See, I didn't hear all of you. So some of you still like it a little bit. Did that question catch you off guard? I remember this one man sharing about, he said, this minister was talking to another man who'd been in war, in one of the wars, I don't remember. And he says every time he saw him, he'd recount of all these terrible war stories. I mean, just how it just, it changed his life. The man sharing the story. But he said, he just told them the worst stories imaginable. But as he told it, you could see that he was kind of like enjoying it. He says, he took pleasure in it. Any of you out there that go to movies that scare you? Why would somebody go to a movie that would scare them? I have no idea either. You go to those movies, that terrify you? No way. So, to hate evil means to hate it. Hate is a really strong word. The Lord hates. Did you know that? God hates. There are 6 things, yea, 7 things that the Lord hates. And you can see that actually in, I believe, Proverbs chapter 6. He talks about those. You can look at that later. So, what it was said of Jesus, said that he hated iniquity. He loved righteousness and hated iniquity. When you get to the place where you hate sin, you're on your way to personal revival. I mean, you hate it. I know we're Christians. We don't like sin. Sin is bad. I mean, we hate it. You know that even believers can still enjoy sin. There's pleasure in sin for a season. You can work for sin, but its wages are always death. That's why Peter says, a believer that turns from the truth and goes backwards, he says it's like a dog that goes and eats its own vomit. We think that's gross when we see that. Well, spiritually, that's what we're doing, if we're doing that. So the fear of the Lord can get us to the place where we hate it. Not only hate it because it's destructive to us, but we hate it because of what it does to Him. That when I'm sinning, when I'm doing things I know I shouldn't be doing, I'm hurting Jesus. Jesus died for me to be free from the dominion of sin in my life. So the fear of the Lord can work that in you, to hate it. Not to just somewhat dislike it, but to really hate it. And then he says, pride and arrogancy and the evil way, and the froward mouth or the perverse mouth do I hate. All right, next one. Chapter 9, verse 10. Somebody read that.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding.
Just like how Proverbs began, wasn't it?